Let's hop into a subject, dude. We're just rambling this intro, man.
All right. So we was going to discuss this on last podcast, but we got totally sidetracked and we never got around to it, which is totally cool. But I was at work and I was just thinking, brain was just rattling, and I got to thinking about history. And, I work with a lot of, like, Asian people who came to this country, whose parents and stuff, or, like, maybe them when they were way younger came to this country. And I Southeast Asia, like Laos, Thailand, those kinds of areas. And I started thinking about the Vietnam War. And I was like, I'm curious about that because I know of the Vietnam War. I learned about it in school. I knew it was a war that we allegedly lost, the fall of Saigon and all that. But I didn't really know too many details about it. It was just a stain in American history because we, got our asses handed to us and we lost a lot of people and we sent a lot of people. So I started doing some research. Do you know much about the Vietnam War?
My dad did, and he taught me a little bit.
So what do you know? How long was it?
Huh?
How long did it last?
I didn't think it lasted too long, honestly.
Take a guess.
I'm going to say 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah.
19 years.
No! Did it?
Yes. No, the Vietnam War was 19 years.
I thought it was super short.
That was just U.S. involvement. Let me double check that fact there.
Do that, please.
So...
I need
Okay, no, we
Vietnam.
were major combat involved for 8 years.
Still a lot.
That's exactly what I said.
But that's major combat involved. We were still involved, just not majorly combative.
No, you're right, still.
So that just kind of blew my noodle because I was like, damn, that's a long time. That's like...
Almost as long as Afghan War.
That's like my kid being like a whole child raised in that time.
Yeah.
18 years. I mean, that's from birth to adulthood.
Yeah.
That's just, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
So...
but what little I know, my dad taught me. I think I've watched 1 or 2 movies about it. Again, no expert, obviously, since I don't even know how long it lasted. But
I didn't either, man. I thought same as you, just a couple years.
That was maybe. Pretty. Well, it seemed really in and out, but like there was no. What I gathered, it was a lot of from what I learned from history books and teachers growing up. It was like we got our butts handed to us, in and out.
It was
but my dad,
unpopular. The hippies hated it. Everybody hated it.
Everyone hated it. It was like warranted, what I gather. But like, there's only one. Actually, I've met 2 now. My dad, when he was telling me about it, he's just all like, "By the way, we didn't lose." And I was like, "What?" And he's all like, "We didn't get nowhere. Everywhere we got, they pushed us back, and then we gained it back and pushed us back." And it was just this like, it got to a point where he's just all like, we weren't getting nowheres, and he's just like, eventually we were just all like, all right, we're just gonna go home.
Well, yeah.
But I was always taught like, it was a flat out.
It was a massive defeat. It was a big like embarrassment that we lost and all that.
And by the way, it's still. I mean, I get why it would be perceived as like an embarrassment. I get that. Trust me, like I definitely see the point of view. Like, hey, we went there.
It was more of a forfeit because we're not going to get anything out of this than it was you stomped our ass into the dirt. It was more of a hey, fine.
Yep,
we're done then.
And I met a veteran not long ago that he basically agreed with that. He was just like, yeah, and he loves war and all that stuff. So
well, that being said, one of the things that I understand though is that even despite all of that, if you look at the casualties of that war, the U.S. did not lose near as many as Vietnam did.
They didn't?
Mm-mm.
I can't.
There was
I could not.
There was a lot of death.
We'll dive into those numbers here in a second because
please.
that is true. They did lose quite a bit more.
I didn't know that.
And so, but that's what we're going to go into next. Is going to go to the casualties.
Please, okay.
So, like, how many people do you think died from the U.S. side? Because I'm speaking strictly from the U.S.
19 years, only 8 years in combat. I'm gonna say.
And remember, this is 1955 through 1975.
I'm gonna say 20,000.
I expected an overshoot, honestly. 58,000.
I was going to say 50 a second. I was like, I'm overballing.
Yeah,
okay, so 50. Okay.
We had 58,000 casualties and 153,000 wounded.
Okay. So I was basically right, yeah.
So, and if I remember right, the numbers for the Vietnamese and all them was closer to the millions.
Yes.
Yes. It was a tremendous, and that's a lot of
Well, not to cut you
No,
off,
you're fine.
I think kind of goes back on what you were saying about it, like kind of being like an embarrassment, is that it is kind of embarrassing considering how many lives were lost in for nothing.
The middlemen lives that were lost because it was a fight for against communism, right? Because it was China and Russia that was helping the Vietnamese. They were coming in from the north and spreading their ideology, and we come in and spread our ideology
okay.
from the south. And so
the Vietnamese were like the middlemen. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's
Well, the
but
Vietnamese and the American soldiers, basically the soldiers were the middlemen.
Well,
So it's
yeah,
the- it was
overall,
the
yeah.
government powers that were accomplished.
Oh, yeah.
the Vietnamese were kind of caught in between because
That's what I was saying,
It was
yeah.
like which ideology do they want to pick or choose, and then now we're fighting this other country's ideology with our ideology for this country, and this country's people
Sounds familiar, dude.
are picking sides. Like, so, some of them wanted to live a more communist lifestyle, some of them wanted to live this lifestyle, and instead of agreeing to disagree and allowing one thing or allowing both to coexist, it is my way or the highway scenario.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's one of the sad parts about that. But okay,
That is interesting. I didn't know that was millions.
Yeah.
We'll
That's a
look at those
dramatic
numbers in
difference
just a minute.
compared to 58,000, right?
Yeah.
So now the big one in Vietnam era, and people are even talking about it to this day.
Really?
The big one,
Okay.
draft. How many people do you think were drafted from the U.S. to go support
Because
the
the
Vietnam
biggest
War?
thing about the Vietnam War was that a lot of people were dodging the draft.
it was
That's
a
what
big draft.
I heard a
I
lot
remember
about.
that. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that too. That's a good point. Okay. I'm gonna say. Jeez. I'm gonna say between 50,000 and 100,000.
Dude,
Were drafted?
10 times more than that.
No.
2.2 million, roughly, men
Is that right?
were drafted
Well, not
for
women.
military
duh.
service for the Vietnam War.
Oh my god.
But no, okay, not all of them served in Vietnam though. Like, that's just the drafted people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a lot of them did, but there was also quite a few that didn't.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's also just really
Well,
interesting.
not only that,
That
the way
is.
that's
Oh my
worded,
gosh.
I don't know if it's trying to clarify it or not, but the way that's worded, that's how many men are drafted, if I'm not mistaken, from both sides?
No. This is it's just American, U.S. drafted,
Just U.S. drafted.
just
okay.
U.S. drafted.
man.
That's what I was trying to make sure. Okay.
No,
I didn't
yeah,
know if it
all
applied
By
to
the way,
drafting or
I
not.
love-
well, that's why I
this-
said I was specifically talking about U.S. stuff, not
Gotcha.
talking about China, because China can draft 1 billion, no problem.
Yeah, right.
I was just gonna say I love this format right now. Like you guys like educating me right now. You're like take a guess, like, and then we all learn something right
Well,
now.
see,
because
but
I didn't know.
Again, I
Yeah.
learned about it, but I didn't learn about the scope of it, like to the degree. Because like now that I'm older and I'm looking back on it, I'm like, holy crap!
There's always more to
20
learn.
years, 19 years, and then you look at like the amount of
Didn't
people
think it was that
drafted.
long.
Like what was the freaking population of the United States in 1950? Like, hey,
What
Google,
is it? Oh,
Hey Google,
is that
what was the
rhetorical?
population of the United States in 1955?
The United States population in 1955 was approximately 165.9 million.
So 165 million.
Okay.
2 million people were drafted. That's darn near 1.8%. Right?
That's it.
What still that's
of the entire country.
of the entire country.
Yeah. I figured. I don't know. When I think of draft, I'm all like every able body. That's what I think of. Anyways.
Okay, but you got to remember 165 million. Okay, how many of those are adults? How many of those are
I
elderly?
agree.
How many
I
of those
agree.
are children?
Well, adolescents. Yeah,
You know,
I get that.
So, but the age group between like 19 and maybe 40, which probably would have been drafted in, or 18 and 40, which probably would have been drafted, that's probably only like 40 million people.
My question on
Exactly, that's why
on
I'm
the
just
tallying
wondering
of
why
the
it's so low.
draft, or on the tallying of the draft, is that only counting ones that actually went and served, or is that counting ones that dodged too?
No.
the
It's not going to count the draft.
Yeah,
the
no,
Dodgers.
The Dodgers.
Oh, okay, because that's where I was confused, because like technically they were drafted, they just didn't go.
I mean, I see your wordplay.
know what I
I knew
mean?
what you meant, though. Yeah, that's just.
Well, we could definitely do a little bit of research later on that and maybe fact check ourselves later. But I highly doubt like that's so nitpicky. Somebody wouldn't put that data in there just for the shits and gigs of it.
I'll say this. Okay. Do you have any more on Vietnam? I was gonna say. Is there another segment on it?
Okay, so little fun fact, lesser known details.
Okay.
The U.S. dropped more bombs on Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia than were dropped in all of World War II combined.
Ooh.
And World War II happened, 10 years prior?
And there was a
Something like
blitzkrieg
that.
in World War II too.
And so more bombs were dropped in that tiny region of the Southeast Asian
And the
territories.
thing is, like, it's a huge tourist destination. When I gather,
Mm-hmm.
they welcome Americans. Like, it's
Well,
absolutely
as of now. I think,
now,
right?
yeah. And it's nuts to me.
Well, they probably had they had to follow communism because we left. So communists kind of took over a little bit, and they realized, oh shit, they had the better ideology over
Sure,
there.
yeah.
So you guys
Who,
come
capitalists?
back.
Yeah, right, dude.
Democracy.
Democracy.
Yeah, right, dude.
Capitalism is more of a idea of business.
And then another fun little lesser known fact: some American soldiers attacked their own officers. Over 900 incidents were recorded due to low morale and internal conflict.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
So-
I firmly do.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't saying it's historically accurate. Have you guys watched Platoon at all? That movie is
I've
like
seen Platoon. It's been some years.
hell in a handbasket. Basically, it's
Full
just
Metal Jacket.
Huh?
No.
Haven't watched that one.
That's the one I'm more familiar with.
Is that a Vietnam movie?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that. I know Platoon, but how dark Platoon was?
Well, I mean, Full Metal Jacket was pretty dark too.
Was it?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it
I just know memes
It had a
from
lot
it.
to do with there was one of the dudes that got drafted in the movie. He was like not all there mentally, but he got drafted and he had to serve. So like all the grueling like boot camp and everything that he didn't want, he had to go through. Wanted to kill himself over it and everything.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's pretty
No,
wild.
Platoon just starts off. I don't know if he gets drafted or signs up, but men are automatically flying over there, and then once they get there, but no, it talks about like all the progression they make. They're just wiping people out, all the night raids, and then like all the stuff they have to go through, the little stuff that you don't think about every day, like the insects,
overlook.
like the stuff,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the booby traps, because the amount of booby traps over
Ooh,
Vietnam.
it's really interesting to watch some of the documentaries on the booby traps from like the Viet Cong and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
guerrilla
like,
warfare was definitely in their favor on that front. They
Yeah.
understood their territory way
well,
more.
not so
than we
much
did.
last millions, but like, holy crap!
That's why we went
well,
to bombing more than anything, I
well,
think, because we didn't want to risk it.
But you also got to remember too, there's a lot of like people caught up in the middle there. You got these people. Okay, and
Innocent
so
villagers, too.
we being the United States, being a part of that, if we're wearing our flag and wearing our colors, we can't do anything too heinous without it coming back to haunt us or be terrible.
Yeah.
They're watching their family and friends die left and right.
Yep.
So they don't give a damn about humanity or making you feel okay or only hurting you a little bit. They're gonna make sure that this trap is gonna do its job
Exactly.
regardless.
That's a great way to look at it.
You
Yeah,
know,
I like.
it's
I
interesting
like
to
that.
bring that up too, because I also was thinking too, like
He wants to set up booby traps around the house.
the way Vietnam had had like it almost felt like a way to like test the new powers of America in a way. Like we had much more new modern equipment when it came to military at that point, and things that we didn't have a lot of access to when it came down to World War II, for instance. And I think Vietnam was a hell of an excuse to be able to test out everything that we had. I mean, there was a lot of armaments that we used in that war, especially as well, that you don't even see used to this day. You know, like things like flamethrowers and everything like that.
Well, if you wanted to win, you had to, because it's dense jungle. You know, Agent Orange was there to help deteriorate the jungle and stuff like that.
Also, our soldiers too.
Yeah, it was bad. So my grandpa got cancer and stuff from the Agent Orange. He was in Vietnam.
There was
Yep.
a channel I watch, Y-Files. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Oh yeah, I love them. They're really good.
He did a video specifically about like, not really government secrets, but it wound up being involving Vietnam. And at the end of it, he goes on this long rant, being all like, "Hey, I love America. I support us, but like we've done some pretty nasty stuff, especially to our soldiers." And he just goes on this rant about like we need to start taking care of our own stuff like that. It's really a very, very
Well, you
tear-jerking.
can acknowledge the bad that is
And still- yeah,
without hating the
exactly,
country,
yeah.
like you
Yep.
know, like because that's not all of us. You know, that's the decisions of a few. And
Yeah.
it's bad to put that decision of a few onto the masses because
Well, same for like
I
any
may
country,
I may
you know?
agree with the war, And because I say I agree with the war, you would say, oh, well, you agreed with them hurting our soldiers and exposing them to these dangerous things. It's like, no. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
That's actually a part of it I disagree with.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's just something that you learn to accept happens.
It's part of
when
it.
it comes down to war.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I agree with it. But
Yeah.
it
No,
happens.
Yeah.
But we can also acknowledge the errors of our past and move forward better.
That's the
stronger.
best way to do it. I think when you don't acknowledge it,
Yeah.
it's just all like, hell yeah, America rules. We've never done anything bad. It's like, hold on, dude. I can get with it. You know, we're here. You got to make the best of what you got.
Mm-hmm.
But like, once you start accepting, like, hey, there's some like parts we got to work on too. I think you're in a way better situation. You're a better person, I guess.
It's kind of like the bettering of our armed forces when it comes down to it. Like when we better them, yes, they are technically more lethal killers, but at the same time, they are more able and apt to make good judgment calls in the field, execute what needs to be done with the least amount of innocent lives being affected.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like Platoon, that's one thing they did. There was a scene where they were like burning villages. These people, and the thing is, like, it like really twists your stomach because you're like, there's like women and children here, but at the same time, logically speaking, I'm not trying to sound like a cunt and whatnot, but like, you don't know who is in on it, or like if they're hiding weapons at the bottom. So like these men are. Even if it's killing them to do it, it's just all like, if they skip this, what if this is the one village that has all the weapons that kills your 200,000 men down the road, you know?
Well, yeah,
100%.
So it's such a...
Well, see, that's what sucks when we see it in modern war too. Is the
Collateral
opposing
damage?
forces will hide amongst civilians, and
Oh, that's always...
and then whenever you take out them and there happens to be civilian collateral damage, it's always the fingers pointed at the person who took out the threat, as opposed to the threat for putting innocents and lives in the line by putting themselves there amongst them because they knew. And it just becomes a moral conundrum. But I digress. Let's go back.
No, you're completely correct. But yeah, we can... Yeah, we're really getting into
let's
it.
hit this one. Let's hit this one last point for Vietnam before I'm happy to move on. But I just want to hit this one because this one really... It makes you think about it harder. So, the average U.S. soldier in Vietnam was just 19 years old. Younger than World War II. About one in... Oh, okay, no, never mind. Yeah, so the average Vietnam soldier for the U.S. was 19 years old. Like...
Oh, for Vietnam?
Yeah, that was...
our average soldiers that we see.
I knew... I knew they were really young. I didn't know that.
So take yourself back to when you was 19 years old. And they come and say, we got to go. And then you go train in a boot camp for 3-4 weeks, and then you get shipped across the world to a place you've never been, to a place you've never seen, to where people speak a language you don't know. And
you're not hanging out with them.
Either or. Okay, if somebody was to say, I surrender in Vietnamese to you, you wouldn't understand what they're saying.
No, but there's universal like gestures you can see or make.
Yes, but if you can't communicate with them in a reasonable way, like you said just a minute ago, they're the enemy.
I agree. If you have 7 guys and they're one... Now, granted... they have bombs. I was just going to say, if this one dude, lone dude, walks out, throws his gun down, hands up, or the whole white flag, what is it? The, white flag. If he just walks out, I might not take my gun off him, but there's no reason I should just shoot him in the head.
But I think... Okay, so remember, you're 19 years old.
Yes.
Fresh out of high school, you're just now working in the workforce.
Far away from home.
You're sent to a place where you've been fed all this propaganda that everybody wants to kill you. All this, you want to go home to your family.
Yes.
You're not going to take the risk of trying to trust somebody who may be a savage, if you will.
You've probably seen 4 of your teammates die from very similarly crafted
I see what you guys are trying to get at. By the way, but I wouldn't ever say I wouldn't ever commit something terrible. I ain't gonna say it because I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But I will say
your
this
point too. I'm sure there's people that didn't encounter those situations and were right to have not made that call.
But like either way, like if a dude like he saw 7 like his buddies just blow up, nothing but like blood and like fragments of them on the ground. He's not in his right mind, and the enemy's running up on him. Even if he was surrendering, I ain't gonna be upset with that dude if he shot that man. I'm not, even if he was surrendering. I'm just saying, what the scenario you gave me, just immediately what pops up in my head, if he throws his gun down, he's walking up, hands up. At this moment, I would say, like, I don't see a reason to shoot him, but at the same time, like, there could be a million other things. Like, if he goes to reach for something, yeah, maybe you
I'm
get
not
shot.
trying to say that you would do anything bad. I'm just trying to say, put yourself in the 19-year-old mindset.
Yes.
You know, like when you were...
I remember, dude.
You're plucked and thrown into that.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. It's shocking.
unbelievable.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
terrifying.
I completely agree,
especially
yeah.
with all the propaganda you've been fed.
And
Yeah.
you've been handed a gun
Yeah.
and said, take care of business.
To a point. Again, I mean, they can program you so much. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
There's still you're gonna have your stutters. Again,
yes.
there, even if we want, again, not a great depiction is going back to a film, a Hollywood film, but there's plenty of just the movie I was talking about. There was a high stress situation where they needed to open fire. Some of the men panicked because they were boys. They didn't know. They freaked out and they couldn't fire. They dropped their gun. They were covering their ears, screaming for their moms. It's all like there's gonna be men like that. Not all these guys are gonna be all like,
Those are boys.
huh?
I said those are boys.
19. Well, I mean,
Those aren't men. A real man doesn't cover his ears and cry for mommy.
A real man just pulls the trigger and asks questions later.
I think if you're in hell, I ain't gonna judge you, dude. I'm not. No, you guys are serious. You guys are being cool and whatever. You want to make fun of? No, don't touch me. You want to be all cool and shit and make fun of for crying for mommy, but no, dude.
Listen, I'm making fun of both sides.
No, but no, I think you're 100% correct. I see your guys' point. You really you're baiting me to be all like, you
No.
shoot him immediately. It's all like, no, I mean,
No.
some guys would like
No.
drop their gun and freak
No,
out.
I'm not trying to
mind
say
you.
you would
Yeah,
do
not you,
anything.
no,
I'm just saying.
Stop
I'm not.
Hey, relax, okay? We're
Okay.
baiting you.
Yeah, we're not baiting you. Let me stroke your shoulder real quick.
I give you
along
guys
with
an
your
answer.
ego.
I give you guys an answer. You're all like, yeah, but this. Okay, I repeat
Give an
my
answer, we take
Yeah,
a
but
mile,
this.
motherfucker.
All right.
No, listen.
Look, it's
Well,
we're kids. Yeah, I get that. Like the
well,
it's-
not we. That's
Oh,
what he's
me.
getting
My
at.
bad, my
No, not you.
no, you made
What
it
we're
clear
getting
as
at
me.
is that these are 19-year-old boys that were shipped off back then.
In
And
1955,
try to kind of
you know,
meet the common ground of what they went through. You have to kind of put yourself into their shoes, but it's not you.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
see, that's not the answer you gave, or the question you were applying.
No, I
You're
didn't
like-
ask it. He did.
You're in Vietnam. You added to it. You're in Vietnam. You're 19 years old. Put yourself in as 19 as you were as a 19-year-old. You go to a foreign land, blah blah blah, and then the rest.
No, not yourself.
That's
Not
literally.
No, okay. No, hear me out. Hear me
Okay,
out.
overall, I get your point. That's why. Here,
Let me make sure I'm speaking to the microphone real quick. You know, I'm sorry you're not paying attention,
once.
but anyway,
you're peeking.
what I'm trying to say here is, who?
No, you
Okay.
guys are on the average. You guys said on. You also brought up on the average later on. I get that, which is why I replied with, "There's also some guys you don't know how they react," which is why I brought up the some might freak out. Some, yes, might unload even on innocent children, which it sounds disgusting, but at the same time, like we all agreed, we don't know what's going through their head right now. Is that amusing? Unloading on children right now? The adolescent? That is
The way-
disgusting.
it's
I'm
the way
sitting
you
right
said
beside
it.
you.
Check his
The
hard
way
drive.
he said it, unloading on a bunch of children.
I'm sorry. Blowing
That's
the heads off
disgusting.
of children.
Blowing my load on.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Anyways,
You're disgusting.
Okay.
dude.
This is going
okay.
too far. off the-
Okay. Here. Yeah. Oh, so are you about wrapped up on the Vietnam thing? Because I might have something to add on.
Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted.
I was just gonna say, do you think there's a possible draft soon? Because all that, because it's always getting kicked around every couple years. A draft. I don't care at this point.
It's a lot of fear mongering. That's the way I look at it, because it has. Ever since I've been in high school, there's always been like, oh,
There's a
you better
draft.
vote my way, because if you don't, you're gonna get drafted.
Yep. I've heard it since Trump. That's what got me into politics, is because they were all like, by the way, this man's gonna get you in a war. Every news channel was like, he's going to get you in a war, just wait. There's going to be a draft. I remember being terrified. I went to a buddy's house. I'm sorry, remember your thoughts. Went to a buddy's house and he said this. He was all like, check every different news channel, right to left. Right to left. He's just all like, then you find the truth by picking the feet. I hate you.
Okay.
Go through all the news channels. That's how you find out the truth, okay? Because everyone's got their biases. That's it. And it made me feel better. That's how I got into politics. And I was like, oh, Trump ain't so bad after all, dude. He's just funny, man.
He's not very tactful in the way he speaks.
He's not great.
But
He's funny. He's charming.
You have to say hard things sometimes. You can't sugarcoat everything.
Okay, so
got this
the interesting
gimmick
thing,
going on.
The
right
interesting thing about the draft, though, like when it comes down to its punishment. So if you don't do the draft, you get arrested, right?
now.
But if we lose the war, who's arresting you?
No. You might not get arrested. You might become a prisoner. You might be.
Well, if
Depending
you're
on the
already a
people-
prisoner, but like if you're a prisoner in America, but America loses the war and then we get taken over, right? Are we still technically imprisoned by America?
Are you saying that's another way to?
Are we
that's
now
a
under
loophole.
new law and jurisdiction? Like, does it not apply anymore?
That's interesting to think about. If you lose,
Yeah.
well, the country's still gonna be here. It takes a long time for it to take over. So I'm assuming the people that were soldiers here.
Well, okay, we lost the Vietnam War, but we're not Vietnamese now. We're not Chinese now.
We didn't necessarily, quote unquote, on paper
Oh, yeah,
lose.
yeah.
Okay, then in your situation,
Like
just
Vietnam
because you
didn't-
consider it a loss doesn't mean it's going to change your way of life and you aren't going to get arrested.
Well, no, I mean,
I
think
see-
about it.
I see
Vietnam
both the
didn't
points.
invade America, right?
Ooh, there we go. Yeah. Here, check this.
They
Here,
didn't
Germany.
invade America.
Oh, okay.
So, like, we wouldn't have lost in
okay,
that
but
capacity.
now you're changing the transcript there quite a lot. Okay, so
Well, go ahead.
okay, if you was to get drafted to go fight in a different country, are you going to reject the draft? But if you were drafted to fight a war that was brought to us on our land, are you going to accept that? Are you going to say no for foreign conflict? Or are you going to say
Wait,
Hold on, I think that's a little different, though.
I
That's
think
a
it's
little-
completely different. I don't know where you're getting at right
Well,
now.
No,
But
no, I
that's
see. No,
what
I
I'm
see
saying.
where you're getting at, but also, like, I think you
is
both are.
you're picking and choosing right now. You're saying that okay,
So
if
are
I
you,
dodge
though.
the draft and we lose the war, then all of a sudden we're under new governance. Therefore, you can't. I'm not. I'm not gonna get arrested anyway because the new
Well,
governance.
yeah, that's actually pretty plainly stated. So, like, if we lost the war, you know, like, if so
But we
if
lost
my
Vietnam.
country deems it fit that they need to draft me to fight this war, it's probably because if we lose it, we lose our country.
No, not at all. We didn't lose our country for Vietnam.
But again, the point of the wars, and again, there's only 2 world wars because supposedly the victor was going to change the whole world, like this whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this technical war, if you're going to make every one of your men in your homeland go fight in a country, it needs to be for a reason, like, hey, your country's going to, nothing's...
When was the draft initiated? Like, when did the first time we initiate draft in
Was
our
it
country?
World War?
I want to say it was one of the wars.
It had to have been World War II or one.
Something
or
where,
one.
like, globally is
Yeah.
affected.
Yeah. So it's got to be around there. If we're wrong,
Okay,
if we're
but either
historians-
or, that's divulging straight from the whole point. The whole point of the argument was that if I dodge the draft, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm not going to get arrested because the government is going to be a different government. And
No, no.
therefore not arrested.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
no,
You're still
actually-
arguing. I got you.
No, that is the original.
That's
point.
the original. yeah.
Well, kind of, sort of. You had a little bit twisted. What I said was that if I dodged a draft and I was arrested in America, and then another country wins and it's no longer technically America, am I still technically imprisoned by America?
Why? Okay, but see right there. That's the disconnect. There is your assumption is that we lose our country just because we lose a war.
Well, here I'll
Yeah,
tell you this. Here.
And that's that's where I brought it.
That's where I consider draft
That's
to land.
where I
though.
brought in my question of if you were drafted to go fight a war in like Korea, are you going to reject that draft? Okay, now if you were drafted to fight a war that was brought to the Florida coastline, are you going to go try to fight homeland war?
Yes, I would.
Okay, that was right there. That's the huge difference. Is you're,
But it's
you're
not really
dependent
huge
on the
difference.
draft.
That's not really huge difference because
hold on.
what I'm saying though, ultimately, like if it came down to it, like you're asking me personally, right? I'm not bringing this about a personal situation like between I or you. However, I'm talking about as a whole. Your biggest threat when it comes to not doing the draft written by our government is that they would incarcerate you.
Yes.
Federal prison. All right, but if there's no federal prison to be in, would you be in federal prison?
Okay, I don't feel like arguing down this logic train because it's not. It's
your point.
It's been taken way too far
Yeah.
out of the context.
Well,
of what
we'll
we're
do this.
talking
We'll
about.
do this.
agree.
You guys,
Break time though.
Yeah,
Oh,
we can take a quick
smoke
break. Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that. Hell yeah. We'll be right back
where
from
were
a
we?
sponsor.
Bug juice made with real bugs.
Insert sponsor here. What? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so since we got a draft dodger over here,
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, too.
personally, I'm at the point in life where if they draft me, I'm down to go.
I thought the
Make
same
love,
thing, too.
not
Not
war,
long ago.
brothers.
I thought the same thing. No, I thought it was funny just a second ago on the y'all smoke break. You brought up the draft dodger, and then what'd you say? Like, this is a dumb piece of mail?
Yeah.
Is that what you said just saying?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
just-
it
yeah, it's
wouldn't it
just a
be a
dumb
good
piece of mail.
Wouldn't it be a good skit? Like you get the draft papers and you're like, damn, these scams are getting realistic looking.
Look, you know what's even worse? Not even the draft was certified mail. I didn't even have to sign for that. They just wanted me to sign it once it got here.
How do you know? Have you been drafted?
No, we all have to sign your draft.
Yeah, we
document.
automatically. You get it with your ID.
Did you not sign yours?
Well,
you
when
get
you
it with
get
your
your
ID.
when you get your letter in the mail.
No, no. When you get your ID,
Okay, but how do you know you've been drafted?
They send it to you in the mail.
No, yeah, you get that, but you automatically sign up when you get your
Well,
ID.
yeah,
I think.
no, that's a given. That's a
Oh,
given.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
a requirement for mails.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Not all mails.
Well, how do you know it's not certified?
Huh?
How do you know it's not sent certified mail?
It's a scam. We just
I know it's not
established
certified mail because I didn't have to sign for it.
But you haven't got a draft letter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The draft letter in order to apply for the draft.
No, you don't. No, there is. Once you get drafted, you've already applied. That's why you're drafted.
Yeah.
So how do you know it wasn't sent certified? I would imagine it had to be certified so that they could prove that you dodged or didn't.
I see the way you're getting at it. However, you make it sound as though the application was optional.
No.
The application, they threaten you with jail time for not applying for the draft.
No.
It's prison time, federal
you
prison.
just don't get any benefits.
No. They threaten federal prison time.
Yeah.
Well, they threaten a lot.
For you to not
it's a big
apply
deal.
to be drafted.
No, you just can't. If you never get a driver's license, you're fine.
Yeah. But no,
They're not going to come after you. There's a lot of people that haven't got their driver's license and therefore aren't a part of the draft because they haven't gone through that process. And how many of them are in
Well,
jail?
see, that's still a cheating process.
You guys want to know a conspiracy theory about drafts? A lot of people think the global elite do it to kill off the really young, strong population. It's kind of a weird. It's really you'd have to deep dive into it, and I'm kind of like giving like a really basic level. But yeah, no, I thought that's a really neat. It dealt with world wars though.
I would see it being true if it were more common, but it's not. And as we saw, like in Vietnam, 2.2 million were drafted.
Yeah.
And if they was really just sending them off to slaughter, then they would just there would be a lot more drafting. There would be a lot more. It would be forced conscription. Because there are some countries where once you hit 18, you have to serve 4 years in the military.
Well, it's the
have
IDF, right? Israel.
I think Israel
they're
does
notable.
it. There's
for that.
quite a few that do it.
I didn't know a lot of countries. I'm not surprised.